I also have a resolution that I'm going to read in regards to section 284 of the highway law in regards to the paving, milling and paving of our roads. And it says, resolved that pursuant to the provisions of section 284 of the highway law, the town board agrees monies levied and collected for the repair and improvement of highways and received from the state for the repair and improvement of highways. And specifically, the sum of $600,000 shall be expended for the general repairs of town highways, including sluices, culverts, and bridges, or the renewal therefore, and for the following projects. Number one, the milling and paving within the budget allotted of portions equivalent to approximately 3.8 miles of the following roads: Lakeshore Road Phase 2, Button Road, Crabtree Lane West, New Street, Rosewood Circle, and Factory Street. Number two, should the town receive funds under the Consolidated Highway Improvement Project Systems called CHIPS, funds estimated in the 2010 budget, approximately $148,000, would be used towards completing the milling and blacktopping project of Michigan Ave and Superior Ave, approximately 0.46 miles. Be it further resolved that no fewer than 3 members of the town board and the highway superintendent shall execute a certified copy of this resolution in duplicate, and said certificate copy so signed shall constitute written agreement between the parties once it shall be approved by the county superintendent of highways.
Second.
Mr. Jennings?
Before we
Discussion?
call the roll, Chris, I have a couple questions, and we spoke briefly on this. I have no objection to designating what roads you're going to pave and the costs associated with that. So my understanding is that under the first portion of number 1, which was just read, Lakeshore Road, Button Road, Crabtree Lane West, New Street, Rosewood Circle, and Factory Street, those projects themselves would cost about $540,000. Correct?
I believe they would, yes.
Okay.
Thereabouts.
And then we budgeted $600,000
$600,000.
for roads.
Right. What, Shirley could probably explain it better. You want to take that, Shirley? Or?
You mean the CHIPS money?
The
You're
CHIPS
wondering-
Now, well,
What
I was
is
just saying with the
CHIPS
CHIPS money on portion 2, the projects outlined there cost about $148,000. So at the end of the year, which is fine, which is what you want to do, we're going to be expending approximately $648,000.
No, we're gonna be expending $600,000.
Julie, do you want to clarify that?
This is the first, total is 600,000. You can't expend over 600,000. What the CHIPS money does in paragraph 2 is that offsets that appropriation line, and you have to state that for the state. So I know
But the way the resolution reads is that we will be, do you see my point?
I see
We're
your
going to be
point.
expending.
I see your point.
And I don't want to make have the board pass a resolution which is, we're not going to in fact follow that proposed resolution where we're going to be spending above and beyond. Technically, we're going to be spending above and beyond our $600,000, which is budgeted.
You're only going to spend 600,000. That's it. Yeah, and 148,000 is coming from the CHIPS, is in an offset. The revenue of CHIPS offsets at 600,000.
But
It's
how are
not
we
600,000 and plus 148,000.
Okay, how are we to do that with, if projects listed in number 1 equal 540,000, Chris is telling us?
Well, I don't know where Chris came up with 500.
What we did,
Okay.
we did a quick surmise of what the project would cost. That's just an estimate. The price of blacktop will be going up next month, and it rises weekly, starting in June.
Sure.
The 600,000, the way I understand it, is what was budgeted for roads. That's what we've always done.
Exactly.
Last year, the CHIPS money was, we got the check sometime in November. That money went into the road fund, and that came up with the 600,000. Normally, we spend pretty much all of that money. The way the law is written, I had to put in X amount of roads to show that we're using CHIPS. The law doesn't show that we can put it back in to offset a budget. From
Right.
the Highway Superintendent's Association that I spoke to, we can't do that. So I have to put in roads saying that if we have CHIPS money coming in, if the state gives us money for $148,000 for doing more roads than what's budgeted, then I have to show a few more roads that if the money's there, we can do.
Right, so once you complete Michigan Ave, Superior Ave per this resolution, the state will come in and cut checks for 148 in separate increments later this summer.
Right. Usually it's a,
Right, Shirley?
Not in increments, we get it.
we get
Oh,
one lump sum.
Okay, they either passed, I thought that.
No,
No, it's a one lump sum. Usually, by the time we finish the roads, it's September, and we get the check usually late November.
Okay.
probably to make it clear, Mr. Crowe, we could take the paving line that's 600,000 and break this 148,000 that we get from CHIPS out of it and show CHIPS, appropriated amount for repair a highway. And it probably would be easier for everyone to understand. There'd be two lines totaling 600,000, which would be the same revenue that's showing, one line would show us revenue. I
Right.
mean, I can do that, that's not, and we probably should do that for the next budget.
But if the estimate for all of those roads in number one is $540,000, that's an overestimate of how much will be.
Well, there's nothing stating here, that
Pardon me?
that's just that's Chris's estimate.
That's an estimate. That's-
So there's
That's
nothing
what I
actually
mean.
stating this resolution,
Right,
but that's
so
what
it
he's
could be
going
that we
to.
won't have enough money to do all of these roads. but
Correct.
This is the plan right now.
Right, and normally we keep a pretty tight track on it. So if we get towards August and we don't have that money to finish, say, New Street, then New Street will be put on the list for next year. It all depends on the price of blacktop. The labor costs are set, but the price of blacktop, binder and top escalates weekly.
Okay, I understand.
Exactly. The way I'm just concerned that resolution passes and the way it's drafted here is that a resident could read the resolution in the minutes and say Lake Shore Road Phase 1, Button Road, Crabtree Lane, New Street, Rosewood Circle, and Factory Streets are going to be done per this resolution. The board is committed to do that.
I don't believe the town board is gonna commit to it. It's gonna depend on, this is what, right now, on May 29th, this is what we have money for. If June 20th, the price of asphalt goes up, we may have to delete one of these roads. And I don't think the town board's gonna be
That's the
bound.
equivalent approximately. It's not.
3.8 miles, 3.08 miles.
And you could simply change that 600,000 figure to 452,000, and that would make more sense.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm thinking.
that's not his estimate for those roads. So, it's probably an overestimate on the amount of roads. Using his current quote on prices, it's an overestimate on the amount of roads that can be done. I understand that.
Well, what we do, at budget time, we ask for 600,000. The town board gives us 600,000. We have a list compiled of roads. Come April, we start figuring out what it's gonna cost for each road, and that's where we come up with the 600,000. It may be a little less, and that's the way we've done it for 10 years, and as far as I know, that's the way every highway superintendent has ever done it in the county.
But the point is, if this is your list of the roads that you feel need to be done, and if you have sufficient money to do them,
Right.
you will be able to,
Well-
but given the cost of the supplies, it may not be feasible to do it within that amount of
Right.
money. I got it.
So number one, what was the number, Shirley?
452,
452.
that would make more sense if you were reading that.
Well, if you're gonna give Mr. Quirrell a figure, we should all have that figure, because I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know that he had this $540,000 figure for number one.
Well, I called him before the meeting, and asked him about this
Yeah,
particular,
he called and asked me,
they just asked the question. The only thing I would ask is that we, under number 1, we just add the provision that those set amounts is an approximate figure of 452,000. If that could be added to the resolution.
Well, we can add it.
Just change the 600,000 to 400.
So-
I would say it's
So it
600
takes
to
it-
452,000.
Right, that's all you should, yeah.
452 for number 1 and 148.
Right.
Be the 600,000.
Right.
Exactly.
That 148 is definite?
Yep.
Okay.
Would that change?
It could change, but right now that's where it
This
stands.
is approximate for that as well. All right.
Correct.
Thank you.
Right, where are we here? I believe we're ready to vote.
Yep. Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Ms. Zambrano?
Yes.
Mr. Cora?
Yes.
Ms. Blakey?